Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, granddad, grandma, brother, sister, whoever's listening. Welcome back to the Cool to Be Conscious podcast. I'm here sitting on my couch at home with my beautiful partner, Jess, today, which I'm really excited to sit down with and chat with, just how we chat with normally. But we've got headsets on and lights looking at us and a camera recording. The last time that we did this together was a few years ago, and we were living on the Sunshine Coast. Well, I was living on the Sunshine Coast at that point in time. Oh no, there was another one in between.
We've done one between that.
There was one in between that. My bad. That was here, wasn't it? Yeah. But that was still over a year ago.
Yeah, be a year and a half ago.
Yeah, well, anyway, here we are, we're back. And we're in this, wild chapter of life now. It looks a little bit different to how it did a year and a half ago. We were talking about all sorts of different things. Back then I was going through a lot in my own personal journey, and so were you. Man, I feel like we've both been going through lots of different things, and we're now in a point of time where we are in the same experience.
Yeah, we are.
Not the same, but the same chapter. Becoming
mum and dad.
Becoming mum and dad.
Yeah.
Man, and just look at the belly.
The belly.
Get the belly
ready,
out.
ready to go.
Get the belly out, guys. Man, get the belly out.
She's been cooking in there for 9 months now.
I know, literally. 9 months.
Yeah. Big change from this time last year. Definitely didn't see it coming.
No.
Here we are though. This is what God said, so this is what we do.
This is what we do. We build a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's I'm sure we're going to talk about that a lot today. But it's been a roller coaster in between there and now. I think we'll start with that conversation. You know, a year and a half ago when we were talking, I was
You were going through your heart-opening experiences. You had been through them at that point. And the biggest thing on the last podcast that we spoke about was me being seen and the messiness of an autoimmune disease. So, yeah, that was a year and a half ago. You supporting me in hospital, watching me have diarrhea everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was huge. That was huge for you. And it was also such a challenge for me as well to just really, I think, lean into the edges of what relationships are about. And that's loving each other in our brightest days and also our darkest days. And I got to really see you in your messiness during that time. You know, your body was really looking to purge and let go of everything that it needed to let go of, I feel, to really lean into this new chapter of life that we're now flourishing both in. And yeah, that was huge for you. I remember seeing you in your vulnerability and really thinking to myself, whoa.
Have I got the ick? Do I need to run now?
No, but like not even the ick. Like I was just like, whoa, this person, this woman is really opening herself up to be everything that she is right here, right now with me. Yes, I know that there was initial resistance for that and what have you, but when I showed up at the hospital and you were sitting there, laying there, looking like an absolute beautiful mess.
With poo in my pants.
Yeah. I feel there was a real acceptance and you're like, hey, take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. And maybe there was a question mark there whether I would.
Yeah, the mask had to come off.
Yeah.
It was like there's a certain point that you can hold off on showing someone your all in a relationship, and then it gets to a point, and for me it was in profound sickness again and a revisitation from the past for me to be like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna have to show him it all here, and he's either gonna walk away or he's gonna stay.
Yeah. I chose to stay.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I chose to stay. And it's really interesting, talking to this idea of showing all parts of ourselves and letting go of the mask. And it takes time to do that for some people. And especially when it's a new relationship, we try and look, act, smell, behave in accordance to what we think the other wants us to be. And it's like only a matter of time until we get exhausted at holding that mask up or holding this facade up, and we really start to show our true colours and our true behaviours. Whether that's a positive thing or a negative thing, the shadow will start to come through, and all the authenticity will start to come through both ends of the pendulum, right? It's like our behaviours that we don't want anyone to see that are still acting out. That's the shadow form of self, which is always there. And then there's the truth in who you are. It's like the little behaviours and patterns that we do as a person as well that we tend to hide from people. And I'll never forget this conversation that you brought up with me, actually not too long ago. And it was, you said it was on our first road trip, our first trip together on the road. And there was a moment there when I started to pick my nose. I'll let you tell the story actually, and like explain what was going on and what would normally happen for you in that moment.
We were driving up to the Sunshine Coast, and I think, on those drives, you kind of just go into a state of not realizing that you're driving with another person, especially Ryan and I, because we drive in silence a lot. And you kind of just checked out of the fact that I was in the car with you, and I was sitting there, and I just noticed you starting to pick your nose, and I kind of looked across, and you just kept going for it. I was like, okay. Weirdly, don't feel turned off right now. Weirdly, like, this would be such a red flag. I'd be like, car open, I'm out. Like, I've been seeing this guy all of a couple of weeks, and he's picking his nose. If this is the beginning, what goes on from here? And I just didn't get the ick. And I was so surprised. And I sat there and I was working through this process of my mind of, Jess, are you really repulsed right now? And I'm like, he looks kind of cute doing it. And then I was like, good on him for just owning it. And just being true to you from the get-go, which you always were. You were always so honest and so true to you and what was right for you and who you were from the get-go. Whereas for me, I was more put together. I'd say I always wanted to smell nice. You always wanted to look nice. My hair'd be curled. So, yeah, the mask, especially the fact that I was holding on to having an autoimmune disease that was still ruling a lot of my life. And I kept telling you, I'm just going to go for a wee. I'm just going to go for a wee all the time. I had diarrhea, and I just didn't want you to know. So that was a lot for me to let go of and for you to see. And it took me a lot longer than a couple of weeks in when you started picking your nose in the car.
I still haven't seen you pick your nose. Actually, I've tried to pick your nose for you. But like, I when I first started seeing you, I was like, I need to be all of me. I need to be all of me, And it's the first time that I'd done that so soon. And actually, to be honest, I think it's the first time I've ever been me properly from the get-go, Even I look back and reflect on relationships of the past, and the longest relationship I'd been in prior was 2 years. And I was like, man, I only feel like I started really getting to me right towards the end. Maybe I started showing some of my attributes when I was really drunk. And that's like an easy way to pull away the mask and the effort to be something that we're not. Like we always, and it's known, we show our true colours when we're drunk. We say things that are actually our truth. When you say, oh, they're a bit tipsy, they're saying things that they don't actually mean. No, they do mean them deep down. They do. And they're coming out now because the alcohol has enabled them to start sharing more truthful things. So next time you're in a drunk scene with somebody and they start sharing things that may not seem true, maybe ask that question. Is there truth in this thing? There's always, some truth or form of truth in everything that's shared, a half truth or a full truth. And I was always choosing to be everything when I first started seeing you. I was like, no, I'm going to give her the full package deal here, and see if she takes it or leaves
The
it.
Ryan Hubbard special.
Yeah.
No, but it was refreshing to have that. I wasn't trying to figure you out. It was just, you were as you were. I could ask you a question and I got an honest answer, even if it was a hurtful answer. And yeah, it was just authenticity from the get-go, which was refreshing for me and also quite jarring, because it also highlighted in me where I wasn't being authentic with you yet, and which parts of me I was still really hiding, which parts of me I was really still ashamed of, which for me centered around my body and how it functioned and having an autoimmune disease. But
I had no idea that it was going on. I had no clue that you were silently suffering in yourself up until the night that you went to the bathroom about 8 times, and I was like, something's amiss here.
yeah, you fed me an acai bowl at night.
Yeah, I did.
Which now you'd know is just, don't do that to Jess.
No, it's too rich, too fibrous.
Yeah.
It goes straight through the body.
Sugar. Yeah.
All the natural sugars.
But I had to act cool and I couldn't say to you, I can't eat this. And
No, you could have.
I could have, but I didn't.
No.
I could have, but I didn't.
And that's where many are partaking in the same actions that you did. You like pretend that you're something that you pretend, yeah, I'm okay with this, but really you're not. And it's like, how much are you willing to sabotage your health in order to make someone else like you? How far will you go, woman? You were going pretty far.
I sat there and every single mouthful of the acai bowl, I was like, oh, there's some more diarrhea. There's some more diarrhea. But yeah, it was perfect, because in the morning when I woke up and you're like, oh, you weed so much last night. By that point, I couldn't hold it anymore. I just started sobbing and you got the full story.
I did. I got the full story. And that was my opportunity too as well to really accept, you know, who you were more deeply from who I was seeing, you know, who I was being shown. And that was just deepening, for the further deepening of our relationship, and it wasn't that long into it. And then, like, fast forward a year or so, we have both been through a lot. I went through all of the heart opening stuff and the realization that I was so closed off to receive you and to receive your support, your love, and that was massive for me. I didn't realize how shut off I was. I thought I was somewhat open, and I was, to a degree, but there was a little bit of still resistance to truly let you in, and that came through during an experience on THC, which is the psychoactive substance in marijuana, and it was just in an oil form, and it just showed me where I was holding the closure in my heart. My heart started to heat up. It was like heating up, and I was invited to feel an emotion. I was like, holy shit, I couldn't avoid it. And I realized that I had closed myself off from the age of 17 years old when I had my heart broken first from my first girlfriend. I closed it up right there and then. Just batted down the hatches, nails in, screwed the coffin closed. I was like, nah, close up shop. Until this moment where I got to really open it up again and feel your love. I feel to its fullest potential in that moment. I was like, whoa. And that in itself was scary. Being loved that much from you was scary. I was like, whoa, this woman really does love me, like, so much. And I haven't felt that before from anyone. Yes, I think the love from my mum is somewhat similar, but to have someone that is not blood related to you and love you so deeply was scary. And I still am blown away with the amount of love that you have for me. And sometimes I'm like, holy shit, why? You know, why does this woman love me so much? You know, and the person that you are and how much you devote yourself to loving and supporting me on my journey, like, is unmatched. It's unmatched, and I've never experienced that before in my life. Ever. Ever. And like I don't understand, like at the core, how someone could support and love me so much. Yes, I do some good things in the community, and I am somewhat loving and supportive, but I still sometimes question. I'm like, why have I deserved, and how do I deserve this from you? I still have those questions, and yes, we have our own individual challenges that we go through, and for you to stay by my side when I go through my tantrums and have moments of fear arise, or have moments of overwhelm arise, that you still choose to stand by me and believe in me, like more than I believe in myself. And I'm someone that's done a lot of work on myself, yet I still have moments where I struggle. I still have moments where I struggle, and you still choose to stand there and show up and support me, and like, yeah, I've never experienced it before.
Mm.
So like, what's the driving behind that, and like, why do you choose? Why do you choose?
Always, babe, I will
Yeah,
always, I think underneath everything is just, I just, I see you, I feel you, I know your heart, I know where every intention is coming from. I know that with every action you take, it's for love, it's for something greater than you. I know that there's no ill intent in anything that you do, and I know you're doing your best. And in those moments of you questioning, oh my gosh, why does she love me so much? I've just had a tantrum. I just see it as he's blowing off steam and he's holding so much on his plate. Like, yeah, the amount of responsibility that you've had to hold in the last year, particularly, like you've gone from living in a van and just living doing what you do for fun and not really needing it to support you at all, just doing it because you love it and you have the freedom to do whatever you want in life and travel wherever you want, to being running a home, leading our family, leading a mission on your own. And it's huge. And not only that, but you lead with so much grace and so much patience, and you're always there for someone to call, and you're always available to anyone that needs you. And I know that you do it because there's so much, you just want to help. Like, I see you wanting to help all the time and just make the world a better place. And I know that, yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this. I'm just, yeah, from even when we first met, and from when we first met, I knew that you were my man. I just knew it was just a home feeling from that first time I met you, was just this solidarity in my heart of, oh my gosh, he's my man. And it took a bazillion U-turns and redirections. And I remember my friends telling me at points like, you're going to get your heart broken. And I remember having to sit on that being like, okay, he's not ready for my love. Like, he doesn't want me. He's going to America now. He's going to New Zealand. And then you just saying you're not ready for relationships, and you going through all the many dynamics. And I just had this knowingness that I had to be patient and stay put and just stay in the love of it. And yeah, and I know that time and time again. Even last year we went through a massive year of so many changes, and it was just me being reminded again, and patience is something I'm not very good at. So it was my own lesson there of patience, knowing that I know I know that you're coming back. I know that your heart is with my heart, and just stay in the love and be the love. And I just kept reminding myself, like, just be the love. Like, he's here. He's just overwhelmed. And yeah.
Yeah, in those moments, those that are listening going like, when did you have the tantrum? When did you have the tantrum? And it wasn't like, a full tantrum of breaking shit and hurting you. It was me so overwhelmed with the responsibility and stress that I had on my plate that I didn't know how to handle it. I'd never been in that capacity before. I hadn't felt that before. And when I was in that, I was looking for ways to simplify my life and to run away from and avoid the responsibility that I had on myself. And I was like, I can't sustain the relationship. I can't continue being this boyfriend to the capacity that I know that it deserves. Like, you deserve so much love, like, you deserve to be loved so much. Your story is incredible. What you've been through is probably lived through the lives of 20 people. What you've traversed through and navigated in your life is just phenomenal. To know that you're still here, willing to continue onwards. The way that you've been treated and abused in the past is inhumane. And whenever I'm not loving you to the degree in which I know that you deserve to be loved, I feel as though that I'm not doing a good enough job. I don't deserve you. And that's me running away. And those are the moments that Jess is speaking into when she continued just to stay in the love and keep her heart open to me, knowing that I'll come back.
Yeah, because I feel as a woman, you can, and just from my own experience, I can feel when what is happening is like, I'm not saying that I, didn't have boundaries and I just decided to stay because I was weak. It's understanding that and seeing when is the time to stay, and like, you feel the integrity of the man. There are times I look back on my life where I should have left, and I'm like, oh, Jess, nah, you're not being treated right here. You're not being loved to how you need to be loved. But with you, number one, it was completely different circumstances and context, but whenever you had those moments of wanting to run away, it was you wanting to run away to protect me and you wanting to run away and be on your own. It was never I don't love you. It was just, I'm overwhelmed. I need I need to run away and be in my van. Don't want anything to do with like relationships. I don't want to do cool to be conscious. It was a complete fleeing of life rather than a me specific. So I knew that you loved me so much that you were like, I can't be with you because I can't give you what I want, what you need right now. And I knew that it was my season of supporting you. And it was my season of, knowing that it was, you needed to be loved and supported. And I needed to be a pillar of love to say, hey, babe, I'm not going anywhere. You can be as messy and be as confused and overwhelmed with life as you like. But I'm still here. Like, I love you through it all. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you explained that really well. I just wanted to be swallowed.
You did.
I wanted to bury a hole and like put myself in the hole and just lay there, for a week. That's probably all I needed, was like a big hug from Mother Earth, just to recharge and bring me back to ground.
Yeah.
Bring you back down to ground.
Yeah. Because last year was you were thrust very quickly into leading a home, being responsible for us having a roof over our head because I had left my job. And not only were you financially responsible for us and our well-being, you were then going through the whole divorce per se, with asking Rue to leave and taking Cool to Be Conscious on your own shoulders and dealing with the many, many, many repercussions of that. And yeah, there was a lot on your shoulders last year, and you handled it so beautifully. But I knew internally there was so much combustion and you were trying so hard to keep it together. And really, in hindsight, last year, you were just not in a place to be leading a community. You needed to go and grieve this death of part of Cool to Be Conscious, and you didn't have the ability to do that. And so you were just forced to keep going and keep pushing everything down, and it started seeping out. You were leaking all this, the struggle, and that's why I knew that it was just I'm just like, I'm the one that sees all of you. Of course I'm the one that gets it. And so there was an understanding there of he's got so much going on. And
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a big year. Man, it was a big year. I think a big lesson from that year was recognizing that I can't make everyone happy. You know, I can't. And I do my best to, especially with this community. I've got over 100 practitioners. So many people that look up to me and seek my support and guidance. And when everything went down with separation in the business and the community with Rue, there was a lot of confusion and people wanting answers, and I was playing the role of the firefighter, like putting out all the fires that were starting to erupt in the communities, and just and not from the position of like questioning whether they want to be a part of Cool to Be Conscious anymore, questioning the integrity of my decision. And that was hard. That was really hard. And what I recognized on the other end of that is that I can't please everybody, and I can't keep everybody happy. And that's the truth. So whatever you're doing in life and whatever I do in life, I know that I'm not going to be able to support and please everyone. It's just like running the community stillness. Like, there's people out there that think that we're sun worshippers and that we run a cult. And I'm not going to waste my time trying to explain myself to them what this is all about. And I've just had to accept that throughout the time and throughout the years of running this stuff. That's just the way that it is. And like, I've just had to really remember that over this last year, that I can't please everybody. I can't keep everyone happy. I've got to keep doing what I believe in and following my truth in that, you know, and focusing on those that are most close to me. You guys, my family now, Oakley, you, now this beautiful baby that's inside of your belly. Like, I've got to remember what life is really all about.
Yeah.
You know, I reckon I forgot that over those years of those first initial years of running CWC. I just turned into Cool to Be Conscious, and I forgot who Ryan was.
Yeah, it's something that I keep reminding you is, hey babe, you're not Cool to Be Conscious, you're Ryan Hubbard. And you deserve a life too. Because what you do, I know you're so passionate about, and you love just beyond, you love as much as you love Okie Bear and I, you know, it's something that's so important to you. And I see that it's your mission. It's why you're here. It's something that lights you up. It's your purpose in life. And I will always, always support you in doing that. And there have been so many times and tests that have come along and challenged you, being like, hey, Rye, if you wanted to give this up, now's the time. And then you're always reminded why not to. Something pops up and you're like, this is not, I'm on the right path.
Yeah. There's been many moments like that over this last year of
Mm.
just like, I want to go back to painting walls
Mm.
and working 9 to 5 and finishing on a Friday, travelling on the weekend with you in Oakley and soon to be Bubs, because you know, and I both know that
Mm.
this is a 7-day, 24-hour thing. Like, and not many people get to see that, and you do. You get to see the back end of everything and
Mm.
can recognise what goes into this. And it's a lot more challenging than it seems to be from the outside. And yeah, I couldn't do it without you. Full stop. You know, to have you support in the way that you do, and what you do behind the scenes for me, and to make sure that I'm ready, to make sure that I'm fed. Like, I forget to drink water when I'm running events. You're there with my drink bottle, reminding me to hydrate. I don't know where I would be without you.
Dehydrated.
I'd be dehydrated like a little raisin in the sun, you know. But like, no, deep, like, you know, yes, it's funny, but in all seriousness,
Mm.
fuck, holy hicka, I could not do this without you. Full stop.
Expect.
You know, you do know that.
I know. Yeah. I know. I know. I'm the nurturing part. That's
Yeah,
I'm the one that wraps up the practitioner t-shirts and gives them little notes and
you do such an
the
amazing
mother
job.
hen.
You are, but also underneath your mother henness, you have such depth of knowledge and
Mm.
intelligence, and you do have the capacity to teach and to share and to inspire women, especially. You have so much experience with your body, with your health, with food, with your menstrual cycle, with your womanhood, and now stepping into motherhood, you're going to be full of
Mm.
learnings, lessons, and wisdom to share with the community. And I'm really looking forward to you stepping into that when you become a mum,
Mm.
and we can start to share more of what you have to share with the world. I'm really looking forward to that. But let's talk about your season of life that you're in currently, because the more that we go through this and we step into becoming parents, the more that I'm realizing how much of a celebration and acknowledgement it is for a woman to be pregnant, and how much this is really about you, not about me. And I'm really just supporting you the best that I can through this experience. And what you go through as a woman is like, frick, I don't know, I can't even explain, I can't even put into words, because there's so much happening to your body and so much that is changing in you. First and foremostly, like the physical changes that are happening with your stomach right now. Like, your skin is stretching and there's a big thing in there, and it's moving and it's growing, and then how it's impacting your hormonal system and everything as a byproduct of this baby, with different chemicals in it and different biomechanical makeup in there. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but there's different hormones and chemistry going on in there that's impacting you, and it's a lot to sacrifice. And like, yeah, the more that I've gone into this pregnancy, I thought it was about us, and I was like, this is about us. I'm going through just as much as you are. But no, I'm not at all. Yes, I've had to go through some emotional blockages and fears that have arisen in me being a dad, and like, I'd say committing to you in a whole new way and degree. It's like, furthermore, my invitation into devotion within our relationship. But it's nothing in comparison to what you're going through. And I know that it's your life's work to become a mum, and I feel like it is for any woman, and any woman that is listening. Like, your job is to become a mum and to create a little human being in your baby, and that is enough. And like, that is enough, you know. And I feel like me as a dad now, to become a father and to raise a child is enough in itself. We put so much pressure on ourselves to do things, to make change in the world, to create movements, to build community, to be the thought leaders. But when you really break it down to what we're here for, we're here to do this. We're here to build a family. We're here to create change through the young. in which we form and build. And I don't think there's anything that can compete with that level of responsibility than being parents. I know that for me to be true. And I'm really excited to see how we are as parents. I know that you as a woman and how you already show up as a woman. I know what kind of mother you're going to be like. And that was always a thought of mine when we first started seeing each other. You just embodied this nurturing, light, fun, but also just deeply connected, curious, open energy as a woman. I was like, this woman right here is going to be an amazing mum one day. When I first met you, you know, I was like, she is a bubble of love. She's a bubble of femininity. Like that's when I'm, and how I am most attracted to you is when you are in your feminine bubble, in your feminine bubble of just love, expressiveness. Oh man.
I haven't felt much expression in this pregnancy, I tell you what. I have been blown away at pregnancy. It is so overly glamorized and I understand why it's so hard for women to fall pregnant these days. IVF is more common than ever, and miscarriages and fertility's enormous, and we know why, but we don't need to get into that. And there's been such a perception that pregnancy is beautiful and it's just this 9 months of growing a human, and it is magical to witness my body and to feel kicks and know that my body is unconsciously growing this human being without me even having to think about it. I am growing like eyelashes and a heart, and it's wild. Women's bodies are so innately intelligent, and the pregnancy itself, I feel, is overly glamorized in the sense of it's hard work. It hasn't been easy. And coming from autoimmunity, perhaps it's been a little harder for me. But it's also been a really big theme of the past that has come through in pregnancy, because I've become so used to being able to understand my body and hear the subtleties of it communicating to me. And now being pregnant, the communication feels really skewed because I'm being communicated to not only my body, but a human being inside me is also trying to communicate to me. And the fact of trying to keep pregnancy a secret for the first 12 weeks. Meantime, you're vomiting and you have to continue with work and keep it a secret. And the body changes. It's been really confronting. It's been huge. To let go has been a theme of just letting go of, okay, the season right now is a season of growing a human and just surrendering to and trusting. That's been a huge one for me. And you've been a really beautiful reminder of that constantly, is trusting my body again. Because for so long, and with a history of autoimmunity, I haven't. My body never knew what it was doing, hence the reason I lost my large intestine. We could go deeper into that and understand my body did know what it was doing. But I thought I had learned to trust my body again. And I realized this pregnancy that I hadn't been, because all these things are happening. I've never happened before. It's very unfamiliar territory. I don't know if it's right or wrong. And there's been a lot of fear for me, and letting go of fear and knowing that my body knows what it's doing. It's just, it's been scary. It's been really scary. So, Yeah, and then not only that, I think body image has been a big one for me because I'm so used to when I had my ulcerative colitis, and I was very used to having full control over my body. And, I had no control, so I latched onto control. And I didn't realize I was still carrying that in terms of I know how to make my body look good by what I eat and gymming this amount. And I can gym and eat as much as I want while I'm pregnant. I'm still going to keep getting bigger. And not only that, like, there are things hormonally that are happening that I can't change. Like my boobs have tripled in size and they leak and everything feels swollen, and it's been a huge surrendering to letting go of what I look like and knowing that there are seasons in life that you don't have to constantly be on and be in your prime. And we were talking about this the other day, is there's this expectation, especially with social media and just in the world we live in now, that we constantly have to be showing up to a certain standard all year round, and in how we are and how we are with people and how we look like in every single way. We just constantly need to be thriving. And even though, men and women are different, we're on different cycles, we're all cyclical beings, and we still need to be honoring the seasons of life of, hey, it's winter. Okay, I'm going to cocoon a little bit. I'm not going to be as social and so pregnancy for me has been a reminder of, okay, Jess, you don't have to be on and be in your prime. And I've been so recluse and I haven't wanted to socialize. And you know me, it's been huge to not show up and be the energy that I usually am because I'm too busy growing body parts to be the friendly woman all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just want to do my shopping and not talk to a soul,
And that's like, well, in our own and in my own personal experience, witnessing you and how much this is taken from your energy and how much is needed to grow the baby. Like, I'm recognizing that when you're pregnant, like, all you should be focusing on is being pregnant and nourishing your body, doing whatever you need to do to nourish your body, whether that's sitting on the couch for 10 hours a day, whether that's sitting inside watching movies, eating all day, like whether that's just bathing and laying around in the spa or having hot showers or whatever you need to do. I recognize that it's such an innate, respectful phase of your life that should be focused on just listening to what you really need. And like, from our own, this is probably going to trigger a few people, but I see women in the gym still squatting and working out and doing lunges and box jumps, and like, yes, there's benefits to keeping your body mobile and flexible for birth that's going to support, but all of the muscle building and focus on keeping trim so you can bounce back faster and all of this stuff, I'm like, that you're missing the point of what pregnancy is all about. Like, it's about honoring what the baby is needing from you and listening to what your body's needing from you. And like, I've witnessed you do a really beautiful job of listening to your body, and I'm honoring and showing up the best that I can support you, whether that's rubbing your legs, rubbing your feet, tickling your back, just supporting you however you need to be supported. Is there anything that you'd like to talk into that and share on that? Like, I know that there's probably some out there listening right now that are pregnant, and there's maybe some women pregnant that feel the pressure from external social media that are like, oh, this woman was pregnant, she was still running and jogging and going to the gym, doing CrossFit, and like, maybe there's the perfect recipe for each individual, and maybe those women were like, no, this worked for me really well. But what would you share in that?
I feel like movement is important, but I would question you know, if CrossFit makes you feel good while you're pregnant, do it. But ask yourself what the intention is behind it. Like, is the intention to look good and bounce back, or is the intention because it makes me feel good? And yeah, just question
Have that.
yourself on that. Have those
Yeah.
internal conversations. And yeah, for me, I feel functional movement's important. Like, you go back to however long it was, women who were pregnant, they were still doing things around the house. They were walking and
Gardening,
yeah, it's like,
picking flowers.
yeah, you squat when you,
Mm.
I don't know, squatting down to get a laundry basket. I'm trying to think. But yeah, I just think that our general movement these days is a lot less. And so, yeah, move, but move functionally and move to what feels good for your body, and honor that some days are going to feel good and some days you're going to want to lie flat for the whole day. And yeah, it's been huge for me just hormonally. And you've seen, like, there are days when I will randomly just vomit for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because my body's going through a hormonal surge. Bub's going through something inside, and I just need to take the pressure off. Like, I think the biggest thing in pregnancy is take the pressure off. Like, listen internally to yourself. What are you being asked of, and where are you pushing against what you actually want to do? I still struggle with that. There are days when I know that I wake up and I know I need to stay in bed for the day and just sleep and be lazy. But there's this lazy thing happening in my head of, no, you can't be lazy. You should get up and go and do this thing. And I feel worse for it.
I know, babe. You struggle to not do anything, and especially when I'm doing something. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be cleaning around the house and doing stuff outside, and then I tell Jess just to rest. And I come inside, she's cleaned the kitchen, she's trying to busy herself. I'm like, babe, sit the fuck down and just relax. And that's like this part of us that feels as though that we're not going to be enough if we don't meet what you're doing. And like, that's what this is all about, breaking down these patterns and belief systems that we have been ingrained from a young age of, like, you need to do something to get something. You know, whereas no, it's your chapter, it's your season in life right now to be looked after and to be fed, you know, on foot and nurtured and made hot drinks and cooked sweet potato bake.
Yeah.
You know?
It reminds me of what Gabor Mate speaks into, and he says, and I know we're going to know this in a couple of weeks, is when a baby's born, it doesn't give you anything. Yes, you have that oxytocin increase, and like, yes, you've created this, it's love, but the baby can't give you anything. It requires your attention 24/7, yet you love this child so much. And Gabor Mate questions, like, when did we lose that? When did we feel like we needed to prove that we needed to do something or be someone to be loved? Yeah, and I feel like, our baby is going to remind me of that.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be reminded of that. I really am. I think we all need it. I think we all need a perspective shift and something to remind us that we are enough as we are right here in our authenticity. I feel a lot of people have forgotten, you know, what their authenticity is and who they really are underneath. And this is what we see during practitioner training, is like the unraveling of all of the masks and personas that we're holding up to feel or to essentially be loved. That's all it is. We're thinking we need to be something to be loved, and then you unravel your trauma, you unravel the stress, you unravel all of the defense systems, and you start to come back to you. And it's a really beautiful thing to see unfold. And we're going to see that we're going to see it in its purity when we see this baby come out in its full authenticity. You know, there's going to be no programs. It's a clean slate, completely fresh, ready to be loved and ready to be reminded that it's loved as it is always.
Yeah. I am, and that's enough.
I am, that's enough. Should we get really controversial and talk into the birthing process?
Yeah, we can.
Hospital birthing or home birth
Well,
is the question. And like, I know for you, with your history of health, you've been told to not even think about or consider a home birth. That's because the implications of Jess's organ system is different. She doesn't have a large intestine, and there's scar tissue internally. She's
But
got an internal J pouch.
I was going to say, not even that though. I was told I couldn't even conceive.
There we are. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So not only have we conceived naturally without
They
trying,
weren't even trying.
but yeah, I've been told you have to have a C-section, and there's so much noise out there. And what I've learned through my own body and through the medical system of having autoimmunity through the medical system is my body knows, and my body will tell me what's right for me. And there's so much power taken away from women in birth, and it's made into such a medical predicament, and it's not. It's we co-create. I don't know how many generations, but before us, women are born to birth. We're born with this ability, and it's just remembering the power of that without having the noise around us telling us, oh, you should do this. And I agree to some extent. There are people out there who need to be in the hospital. I don't take away from that. But for me, I trust in my body, and I trust that if something, we plan to have a home birth, and I trust that if there's a time in our home birth where I feel, no, actually, baby's thing wants to go in a hospital when there's something amiss, I trust that I know myself well enough, and I know my body well enough now to know when that time is. So, yeah, but I feel like it's a huge reclamation of me and my body after what I've been through with my autoimmune diseases, is to remind myself that, hey, I know me more than anything. I've been so in tune with my body. I've been through a whirlwind with my body. Just trust.
100%.
So.
That's not easy for many. And, what I see in this world is like this really masculine framework, and they've essentially created a system to monetize birth and to make it really robotic and make it as though that we feel we need that intervention of a C-section or hospital. It's like you need to go to hospital for birth now. Okay, well, do you think every bird that gives birth goes to hospital to lay an egg? Do we see sheep going into hospital to have a lamb? Where in the animal kingdom are they all being, yes, there's some, obviously, intervention for some. I've seen calves being assist being pulled out of cows, but man, one in 10,000 cows probably doesn't make it through the birth. And I'm like, where have we overcomplicated this phenomena that a woman goes through to give birth naturally? Where have we taken away a woman's power and made it a systemized practice?
Well, there's money in it.
There's lots of money in it.
So much money in it.
We've dove into this a little deeper and done our own research, and now we can recognise why they want you to be in the hospital, handing yourself through the system, and it to be, organised and scheduled C-sections, and on the hour, on the time, surgeons go in, cut you open, baby out.
And not only that, I feel like women, but also just humans, us in general these days, society, we're not okay with discomfort. We're not okay with the unknown. We're not okay with being uncomfortable. And so we are constantly choosing everything that's easy. It's easy to schedule a C-section. You know what day you're going in. It's booked. It happens. Yes, there's recovery in that process as well with a C-section, but you don't actually, you're not fully engaged with the physical birth of your child. And yeah, I remember chatting to a friend not long ago, and she told me that no, childbirth is just too traumatic these days, and just have a C-section. It's so much easier. And I feel like as women, like we are, we're born to be able to go through this pain. And there are absolutely cases where that's not the case, and yes, have the intervention.
It's a rite of passage.
But I feel like it's a rite of passage to motherhood. And I just don't want to take the easy road. I want to feel what it feels like to engage in the birth of my child. And should my body decide halfway through, actually, Jess, you've gone through a bit and this is a bit too much for your body, then as a woman, I'll be empowered to know and have the intuition that this isn't okay. No, okay, the medical system's there. Should I need it? But it's not a first point of call.
No, and you can talk about all of the benefits of the baby exiting through the birth canal, gaining all of the amazing enriched fluids that the vaginal canal holds and has for the baby to come through with, which is super important. You don't get that via the C-section. There's a whole host of things that we could talk into that maybe we don't need to get into depth, but I think the topic here is really remembering how powerful women are and giving back, I would say, the torch to women to be like, you have the power, you have the choice.
And trusting that we're actually mammals as well. We're animals just as the rest of the animal kingdom. And yeah, trust that you just need to embrace your animal. Be an animal.
Be an animal.
Yeah.
Let this thing come out. Let some raws out. Get messy. Get beautifully ugly. I think that's a big fear as well. I don't want to be messy. Yeah. I don't be messy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, go get messy.
Yeah.
Blood, sweat, tears. Make it happen. Get animalistic. It's like it's the battlefield. You're going like, no, it's not a battlefield, but I feel it can be a really beautiful, gentle birth for you. We've done so much. We went and saw this beautiful documentary in the cinema that was called
Birth at
Home, and they showed us these women going through at-home births, and there was a few that had been in hospital before, a few that had done C-sections, and a few that have just now had their first home birth or had experienced both. And it was such a beautiful thing to watch, and the most that I got from that was that it doesn't have to be really intense. It doesn't have to be this like screaming and pushing and like the noise. It can be actually really about you connecting with your breath, you connecting with your body, you just not forcing, you just being in that process in a really gentle, graceful way. I was like, man, okay, this has changed the way that I really view this. And I'm excited to just be in that with you and to see you in your power and to see you being able to just connect with your body more than you probably ever have before.
Yeah, absolutely. And the need to, I feel like the movies sell it to you. From when you're a child, you are conditioned to believe birth is a certain way, and it's rushed and it's so quick and
legs wide open and push,
on your
push,
back
push.
And it's so different to that. And when we watched this movie, I loved it. It was such a birth is so beautiful if you just let it be and you watch these women breathing their babies out, because you don't have to push a baby out, and you shouldn't. The last thing you should be asked is to push. The need to push comes naturally. I was listening to a podcast recently, and a woman said, we're not taught how to poo. You don't need to be taught how to birth. Your body knows what to do. Just let it do it.
I want to just add on to that. We should always try and poo on an exhale. we unconsciously in the toilet, when we're doing a poo, we'll hold our breath and push. And that's creating a lot of pressure and tension on our system. And if we can actually stop and just breathe really gently and focus on relaxing the body rather than tensing, squeezing and pushing and forcing, your body will naturally let go. It wants to let go. It doesn't want to be forced. So if you take anything from this podcast, see if you can exhale when you're pooing as the practice. And it's just like giving birth. I feel you'll exhale as well. And out come Bob. We'll soon see.
We will soon see, yeah.
But we were at right now, current reality, and we've been prepping the house, getting everything feeling really nice, the nesting phase, cleaning everything. I know it's a little bit over the top, but it just happens naturally for some reason. I don't know.
It's so funny how men and women nest differently. There's Jess like folding baby clothes. And there's Ryan high pressure hosing the house. But it's beautiful.
Water blasting.
They both serve a purpose.
Yeah.
And I just want to quickly touch on the fact that, with pregnancy, it's about the woman, primarily, what you were speaking about earlier. But also, there's not much that's ever chatted about in terms of what the man goes through in that 9-month portal. You know, while I'm growing a child, you're going through so much in terms of you'll have your own preparation. I feel like women, it's so much easier to prepare for a baby because we're watching the body change, we're feeling it all the hormones are changing, everything is constantly reminding you that things are changing. Whereas for you, especially in the first and almost basically the second trimester, I didn't look very different. I had to, you had to keep reminding you, I had to keep reminding you that, babe, don't forget, we're pregnant. There's a baby coming in a few months. And it's a huge process for you to go through and prepare to be a dad, and all the many internal dialects and conversations you have with yourself. So
it has. I definitely have moved through a lot and been witness to some of those internal dialogues that I've been having with myself. And I think the theme was the question mark of like, are you ready? And man, can you do this? And what are you going to be like? And knowing what I know now in terms of trauma through epigenetics, through childhood trauma, through stress, through inequality of love, of separation. Like, I understand what really forms a person, especially those first 7 years of being a human being. There's a lot that comes up for me, and a lot that I now take into consideration that I never would have before. 6 years ago, I would have never even thought twice becoming a dad. You know, I'd be like, yeah, sweet, mate, got this, whatever. But now I'm like, hang on a minute, there's a lot to this, and to set this child up to have a beautiful opportunity in life, there's a lot that goes into that, you know. And I've now recognized that there's no perfect dad, there's no perfect mom. There just is people who are willing and open to do their best, and that's all we can do. And show up with love and lead in the way that we know how to, and lead from example, and set the tone, and know that they will copy. Monkey see, monkey do. And to be there when they fuck up, and to just have compassion, and to allow space as well for them to fuck up and learn on their own. To not wrap them in cotton wool, to not over-parent. You know, there's going to be a fine line of finding that space. But I know we're both going to do such a beautiful job of that. And I'm excited to let them test, to let them trial, to let them have their hiccups, to fall over, and just to be there with open arms when they do. And in any capacity, that's all I'm willing to do, you know? That's all I'm going to do is let them learn and be there, you know, and be there, and then share. And then share when they want my advice, to not shove it down their throat and tell them how to breathe and do all of these things. I'm gonna lead by doing it myself, and then give them the feedback when they want it, you know. And that's how I teach students as well.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's what's going to make you such an amazing dad is you're such a hands-on learner, and I love that. Yeah, you have that ability to stand back and watch and you will be able to watch our child make mistakes. And whereas I don't have that ability as well. So I love that you do, is that ability to watch our child make a mistake, and you don't get angry about it. You're just like, cool, yeah, you'll learn. You're hands-on learner, and also you are so driven by what you do and driven with what lights you up. And I know that our child is going to be raised in an environment that's just seeing their dad chase what makes them happy. And yes, it's off the beaten path. It's not the 9 to 5 job. And they're watching their dad chase their dreams. So
yeah, I'm excited for that, and to have Bubs a part of that, experience, and also to not. Well, now as a conscious and aware human, like, it's up to us to not pass on the conditioning and behaviors and habits that were passed down from our parents that weren't positive, that were more from a wounded essence. My stepfather in particular was really challenged with his childhood trauma, and that was passed on into his adulthood in the way that he treated my mum and us children, me and my sister, was unacceptable, full stop. Whereas some of the attributes from my dad, man, like, I can recognize now how and why I'm so particular with the way that I treat things and use things and organize things. Like, my dad was always very well organized in his household, and I remember his lawn always being well mowed, and he was always in the garden, getting the garden looking tidy, and I can see how I picked up on a lot of those attributes that my dad has. And I didn't get to spend much time with my dad. My parents separated when I was 3.5 years old, and there weren't many moments that we got to spend together, and I look back and reflect, and I'm saddened for that. But in the moments that I did get to be with him I really took a lot from the way that he treated his home and the way that he treated his new wife and partner. And I'm excited to share a lot of those attributes with our child. Yeah.
Also realizing though that it's so, I think you reuniting with your dad this last year, it's taught me that a lot of it is there's something genetic happening because you weren't really raised much by your dad, that your dad wasn't as present throughout your childhood. Yet when you and your dad are together, I'm like, wow, that is such a Ryan thing. Wow, that is such a Ryan thing. And I know your dad didn't teach it to you. I don't know what happened when you were younger.
Strong genes.
Some genes are coming through. Things like mannerisms, and your dad has such a big heart, as do you. And it's just been so interesting to see how similar you are with your dad, and how similar you both, just your little haptics and how you move around the world. Yet his presence in your life was very minimal as a child. So yeah, I'm excited to see what comes through for our baby.
I know it's taken us 20, nearly 30 years old now, and I've only just really started to feel his heart and the size of it, and it's been such a really beautiful rekindling of the relationship between us, and I feel most connected to him now than I ever have before, and really excited to spend more time with him and to build that friendship, with him. Yeah, he's and as I've come to realize, he's such a beautiful man, and he's got a huge heart, and man, grateful. Yeah, and same with your dad. He's got a big heart as well, and you got a beautiful mother, and I know that they're going to be amazing grandparents, just as my parents will be as well. And this is coming to our next chapter of what we're doing in life and where we're wanting to be, and we've got big plans for the first year of our child's life, and something that I've always wanted to do is be on the road and travel and share what we're doing in the community. So we're at the moment doing our best to save up as much as we can. Our goal next year is to hopefully get a bus. We can do some bussing about around Australia and be on the road a little bit and share events and stuff with you guys wherever you are, and show the world to our little newborn. And I feel it's a really great time to make the most of travelling, especially while Bubs is under a year old. So that's our goal next year, is to find an old second-hand bus and, bring that to life in terms of a little tiny home and hit the road and, see the world a little bit more and slow down a little bit more as well. We've been so fast-paced over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Been going really fast, and I think it's time that we slow down to the pace of now, especially when Bubs is coming. And I'm really excited.
Yeah, that more presence in life and less hustling.
Less hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah, less hustling. More sunrises, more sunsets, more sandcastles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you like to talk about? Feeling good?
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, it was a lovely chat.
Yeah. 38 weeks.
We are 38 weeks.
This week, so we wanted to do a podcast before we become mum and dad. There are 3 births about to go down, so yeah.
3 births.
Baby, you and me.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be birthed into a dad and I'm going to be birthed into a mum.
And then the birth of the Bubs.
And the birth of the Bubs.
Don't even know if it's a boy or a girl, yes.
No,
I'll know when I catch it.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and catching up with us. We're going to do a few more of these just between the two of us in the future, which I'm excited for. When we release this podcast, we're probably going to be in the baby bubble. So you won't be hearing from us until October.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Can't wait to share with the world the news of who we have, and who we have will be a healthy little human.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. But thanks, babe, for chatting. I love you.
Love you so much, babe. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, pleasure. Anytime. You're welcome. Anytime. Door's always open.
Thanks. Good, we conscious guest.
Yeah. Big love, fam.